today we are right before the last UFC event of the year, which is UFC Fight Night in Tampa. And we've got Colby versus Joaquin Buckley. I've been kind of thinking about this fight more and more. I've been watching all the interviews of Colby. Justin, one of the videos I made earlier this week was I really thought I was kind of past Colby in a way where he Oh, I'm from the Midwest too, Teron. What's up? Yo, we're both from Michigan. Teron says, what's up, my fellow Midwestern Justin? I'm from Michigan too, dog.
Hell
Okay.
yeah.
But anyway, so I kind of felt like, he really did Ian Gary dirty, and then he never really fought Ian Gary. And I thought, it was kind of not my favorite thing. And we were both, I think, felt a little bit we were over the whole Colby shtick. But I gotta say, man, and I don't know if you feel the same way, and maybe you haven't watched his interviews as much as I have, but like his interviews come out, and I want to watch them. I can't help it. And then he did a thing with MMA Guru. I got to tell you, Louisa, who helps us run the show behind the scenes, I was playing her Colby's interview. She's just sitting there laughing, cracking up the entire time. Like, dude, the guy's kind of funny. I hate to admit it, but Justin, do you feel the same? Like, even though I know you've been annoyed with his performance against Leon and some of the smack talk that he's not backing up, but are you kind of like, yeah, despite all of that, you're tuning in?
Maybe, probably not. I mean, we're gonna be like, when I see Colby, like you sent like his interview, after the post weigh-ins and shit like that. And honestly, I don't even like clicking because I don't want my view to ever because remember, a lot of this. Sorry, I'm doing laundry because we're leaving here and I'm leaving in 2 hours, so I gotta get this laundry done. But every time you click whether you like him, hate him, and you click his stuff, that's supporting him. Negative publicity is good publicity. And that's what he's going for. He's the cringiest fighter. He's worthless to the UFC. I don't like clicking his videos because when I click those videos, like that video you sent me, I didn't even click the link because I feel like I'm supporting him. And what this is doing is it's putting out to these young fighters that it's okay to act like this and it's okay to talk like this. And when on every platform you see Colby's face and the way he talks, he's talking about LeBron James. I heard earlier about the Diddy parties and stuff. It's just that's not even fighting related, and you're getting off course because you want clicks, you want likes, and you want people to talk about you. And I just don't think that's the right image for these up and coming fighters. So I mean, will I tune into this fight? Probably not. I mean, we're going to be in the booth tomorrow anyways, and I'll
Right.
tell you what. Fusion Fight League, even when it's just they have street fighters or relatively inexperienced guys, I'd rather watch these guys put it on the line than listen to Colby Covington make another excuse why he gets knocked out by Joaquin Buckley tomorrow.
That's a fair point. And, I will say too, and we're not just saying that because we're part of the promotion. It's so much fun, but I think all these smaller promotions are probably a blast. Obviously Fusion is the one that I'm getting to know, and I know all the fighters now, or a lot of them. And it's really, really fun to see these guys because a bunch of them. I can name several that I believe, we think are going to probably make a UFC debut in the next few years. And so we get to see them on the come up. We get to see, what their personalities are like. We really get to meet them and know them. So it's 100% a blast. But
one more thing to add to that. Yeah. One more thing to add to that about watching these rising coming stars. Like Sugar Sean O'Malley came out of Fusion Fight League. He actually had a loss as an amateur in the same league we're working for. But we get to see what's genuine and what's not genuine. Because I know there's a fighter that Jose and I are super hype on, Lance Regenball. This guy is the terrifying toddler. He has the sky's the limit for this kid.
Yes.
And he's a nice kid. He's smart. He's articulate. I like hanging out with him. And let's say he gets the call to the UFC and he turns and goes Colby Covington. We get to watch and I'm not saying that's going to happen with him, but maybe it could happen with a kid like him. You got these stars that are rising up and they're very humble, and then they get a taste of that success and they just hold 100%. They turn. And now we get to watch these guys see, if they can stick through a genuine career or are they going to go off kilter like Colby Covington did.
That's fair. Now, just to say, I don't think Lance would ever do that.
Nor do I. That's just one guy that we both talk about a lot.
The reason why I say that is he's the real deal. And I if you guys have any interest, you can check out some of the prelims tomorrow on the Fusion Fight League Facebook page. You can also then get the live, pay-per-view if you're interested. And again,
who are we streaming through, by the way?
It's a different provider. They told me the name and I can't remember off the top of my head, but you can access it through the Facebook group.
Okay.
But the reason why I can say that, and I'm not just like, again, I'm not just saying this to promote the, because we're part of it. I legit am saying this and about Lance, and this is why I'm a massive fan of him. He's the real deal because himself is like, he's just hilarious. It's just him. So he doesn't need to put on a stick. I hate to say it, but I think Colby had to because who he is wasn't getting attention. All right, but hold on. Now let's talk about this fight. And I totally get what you're saying. That's why I'm torn, because I do feel like he could potentially set a bad example. And I work in education. I also want to set good examples or support people that take good examples. But God, like, just sometimes I'm kind of curious to see what he's going to say next. And I feel like that draws me in, whether it's right or wrong. But I did want to say this because this is a huge fight for Colby. And a lot of people think, now he says, of course, it's fake news, but you never know what to believe with him. Like, his characters lies all the time, right? But he said that's fake news, and he supposedly signed a new 5-fight deal. I don't believe that, but I do think this potentially could be his last deal. He also slipped up in one of the pressers and admitted that he was pushed into this fight by the UFC. Now, I don't have that clip handy, but he said it, and then he corrected himself. So it's like everybody knows what's happening. He didn't want to fight Joaquin Buckley. He never said his name. It's such a dangerous fight. And I'm really curious to see what was going to happen, because if Colby can pull this off, it would be pretty interesting. But I'm starting to feel like pretty strongly that it's going to go Joaquin Buckley's way, and he's going to win by KO. And here's why. I sent this clip to you. I want to show it to everybody. I have never seen Colby look like this. Now, he's always said that he's a natural welterweight. He doesn't cut that much weight. He claims he walks around at 182, but you never know what to believe with what he said, because it's always like the character talking, right? But look at this. This is insane. I actually felt scared when I saw this clip. Watch this.
Forward to this fight with Buckley. How did we get here? I mean, this just doesn't seem like the kind of match. I can't remember you having a match that wasn't a championship match or a title match. And now we've got Buckley. It seems like he's getting a bit of an opportunity to be raised up. Tough opponent, but an opportunity. Why'd you give it to him?
Yeah, so, I called Hunter Campbell when Bilal backed out of the title fight against Shavkat, and I wanted to fight Shavkat. I wanted to expose him and prove the hype wasn't real. So I offered to fight Shavkat, but Hunter wanted to go the direction of undefeated. So he said, hey, but if you want to fight, we really want you to fight Buckley in the main event of Tampa. Can you come save the day?
Okay. I mean, it's, the rest of it's a typical Colby interview. Justin, I got to take it over to you. And by the way, Two Smelly Fingers says, what's up? Or howdy, gentlemen. What's up, Two Smelly Fingers? Dude, am I crazy? But like, and I know I've heard that when you do have a hard weight cut, you lose your voice. So I know that that's not, I've seen that happen before. And I know that that's not that atypical. You're obviously the expert. You cut weight, 80, 90 times or however, maybe more in your life. Is this like a crazy weight cut for Colby compared to what you've seen? Or is this just par for the course and maybe a slightly tough weight cut?
Maybe a slightly tough weight cut. He's still he's still putting his words together. He's not. We typically, when you're really gassed out, like, you're short of breath, in the sense of, I don't mean he's gonna be, but you don't want. I mean, he is having a tough weight cut. Look at his eyes sunken in. Look at his face. Listen to the voice. But again, he's continuing to talk long sentences. And typically, when you're gassed out from a weight cut or gassed out from being hydrated, you'll typically have 1, 2, 3. You'll have shorter sentences for sure. And again, this looks like it is going to be a tough weight cut, and it is a tough weight cut. I don't think that he's. If it was a really, really tough weight cut to where he's dying, he's not going to do any interviews. He's still doing interviews. He's still talking. He's still articulate, regardless of what we agree with what he's saying or not. He's probably lying. But regardless, it's going to be a tough weight cut. And, as I haven't sent the video over, I have Joaquin Buckley knocking him out within 3 rounds.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of thinking too. I don't know the rounds or the duration, but like, yeah, I think Joaquin's going to knock him out. He's such a tough guy. He's so strong. We know he's got that KO power. He's shown really good wrestling and really good scrambles as well. So I don't know. It's going to be very interesting. But yeah, this really tripped me out when I saw this. Two Smelly Fingers asked, this is for Justin, I assume. You think he looks like this because Colby has been out for a while and therefore it's harder to cut the weight? Could that be playing a factor?
Yeah, that definitely could be a factor. But when you have everything dialed in like Colby does, and the UFC, has guys in charge of your weight cut and guys in charge of your nutrition, it makes it a lot easier. But the hardest thing that's not being talked about is his age. The older we get, the harder it is to cut weight. When I was 25 years old, I could jump in the sauna. I was sitting there for 4 hours. I'll die. I get out. I make weight. It's great. Now, even in my last fight, I was 3 pounds over. I woke up 3 pounds over. I felt great. I got in the bathtub for 10 minutes. I'm like, I don't fucking want to sit in here anymore. You know what I mean? Like, as we get older, especially the more we do it, not only is our age is affecting it, it's the more we do it, we're just mentally sick of doing it. And, it's the older Colby gets, and he's no spring chicken. I think he's in his late 30s, like
36.
36. Like it gets harder and harder and harder. And people think, oh, well, you get used to it. It's like, I don't get used to weight cuts, man. Regardless if I'm losing 3 pounds or 15 pounds, it's gonna suck, and I fucking hate it. And as I've gotten older, it's gotten tougher for me, and I'm sure it's getting tougher for Colby as well.
For sure. And one other thing I wanted to say, I've been listening to Joaquin Buckley's interviews. I'll say this too, by the way. I've kind of changed my mind on Joaquin Buckley. Not that I disliked him by any means. Always loved his fighting style, but didn't really gravitate towards him on the mic, I will say. But he's kind of changed my mind. He's done some interesting interviews. He had a really fun long form interview with MMA Guru, and MMA Guru has said some like negative things about him, and he had a great sense of humor. He's like, hey, it's okay, you can talk smack to me. He's like, at least you're funny with it. At least you're funny about it. It's all good. He was also talking about how he's trying to do more things on social media and collaborate. Like, you can tell he's a go-getter, he's a hustler, and he's putting himself out there. Man, he's 5-0 in the welterweight division. He's on a tear right now. So I think he's somebody that's really exciting and believes in himself. So anyways, I've gotten really behind Joaquin Buckley, and I'm excited to see this performance. But one thing he said is that he knows the team. I think it was MMA Masters that Colby used to train with. And he says that he's seen Colby walking around and he's not with the same team anymore. He believes he's switched teams again. And his take is that he once upon a time met Colby and was at the same gym and saw that, in his opinion, Colby didn't want to train with him back then because Colby doesn't like to, change up his style too much. He wants to train with the same guys. And I know you told me that it can be dangerous to train with new guys. So I understand that. And he even said that. But he thinks that Colby is now in a place where he wants to train, quote unquote, comfortable. Also, now that he's switched teams again, right? He had the first switch from American Top Team to MMA Masters, and now he's theoretically switched again. I feel like this doesn't bode well for him. I know it can go multiple ways, but what is your take, Justin, on that, if that is indeed the case?
I mean, people are sick of him. Like, who wants to be around this guy, man? Of course he's switching gyms. Hell, he might even be kicked out of the gyms. Think of all the bad press he's bringing to American Top Team. He's coming to MMA Masters. Nobody wants to be associated with this guy. Jorge Masvidal was his best friend through college. Like, they used to corner each other, and somehow they developed a beef. And I'm sure that was on top of Colby, of reasoning for Colby. The guy is an embarrassment to the sport. He's an embarrassment to whatever gym he trains out of. Quite frankly, he's an embarrassment to himself. And he fucking sucks. He's 2-3 in his last 5. He hasn't had a notable win since 2019. He beat Tyrone Woodley at the end of his career. He beat Jorge Masvidal, who I never thought was that good to begin with. And, he's lost his other 3. And again, he beat Robbie Lawler in 2019, and that's like the last credible win. This guy's he's an embarrassment to himself. He's an embarrassment to the sport. People probably can't even stand to be around him, so he keeps having to jump around. Nobody wants to help this guy. He's a fucking piece of shit.
Damn. Okay, well, I guess we'll see one way or another. I'm curious to see if people are going to tune in, whether they love him, whether they hate him tomorrow. Again, we are going to be working. I think we're going to finish though with enough time to be able to jump on and watch this fight, watch the main event at least. And I am very curious. I have to admit, because I do think it's going to be. I don't think he's even ever been knocked out before, or if he has, it's been a super long time, maybe a long time ago. I don't remember, but I think that's what's going to happen. And Justin, I know you think so too. So let's see what happens. Colby Covington's back in there. Very tough matchup. Very, very dangerous fighter against Joaquin Buckley. Just a couple comments, then we're going to move on to the next topic. Western Mass Climber says, hey, y'all, listen from work. What's up? What's up? Longtime supporter, consistently there with us all the way. And Tehran says, Buckley is going to hurt Colby. We agree. New Britain Paulie, you might be a new listener. We don't recognize your name. Welcome to the show. Hope you subscribe if you do like what we're saying. It says, we saw the best Covington when he fought Usman the first time. Man, that was a dope fight. That was such a dope fight when Usman fought Colby for the first time. Colby at the beginning of what Tony Ferguson is going through. Yeah, except the difference is I do think that I think Colby's right about to bounce. He also talks in the interviews about now getting really into poker and pursuing a career in poker. So I don't know. I could be wrong.
Colby Covington?
Yeah, he's big into poker.
Get the fuck out of here, dude. I know a better player than Aaron. We hook Aaron up. We send the bear after him. Aaron will clean his clock.
All right, here we go. Oh, wait, two spelling figures. I'm going to throw this question out to you, Justin. He says, sorry, I'm late. If Colby wins, how could he get it done? Justin, take it away.
The most boring decision you'll ever see. He's going to pin Joaquin Buckley up against the fence, dirty box him. And then if he wins some boring decision, which I think Joaquin's going to be just too strong. I think Colby's going to put him against the fence, and Joaquin's just going to bully him off. I don't see any situation, bar no injury to, Joaquin Buckley. I mean, he's not going to knock him out. He's not going to be stronger than him. I mean, if somehow he's able to put him up against the fence and gas him out and hold him there. But here's the thing. I mean, how terrible for the sport. If Colby goes in there and holds him against the fence and wins a boring decision, which he potentially could, that's the only way he's going to win. After the fight, he's going to make every excuse. Oh, well, I broke both feet and both hands in the first round, so I had to hold him here. That's the only way, blah, blah, blah. I'm so sick of Colby Covington. I can't support him. I don't click his links. I don't click his shit. The guy's a piece of shit. He's a piece of shit person. He's a piece of shit fighter. He's a piece of shit friend, and he's terrible for business. And I actually think that the UFC is setting him up with Joaquin Buckley to get knocked out because apparently, not just apparently, everybody, I'm sure, sick of, and even Dana White are sick of hearing about this guy.
He said out of his own mouth, he slipped up. He said, they pushed me into this fight. And they said, well, they didn't exactly push me, but yeah, maybe. Listen, man, this is crazy.
I've been pushed into fights in the UFC before. It's a you better or else situation. And Colby Covington's being set up right now. And I think it's going to come to fruition. And that's the thing. Wow. Joaquin Buckley's dangerous. Like him or not, he's powerful. He's dangerous. He's going to knock Colby Covington out. And, I'd be willing to bet the UFC said, hey, look, you're 2-3 of your last 5. You haven't beat anybody notable since 2019. You take this fight or else. And now Colby Covington's in this fight.
All right, here we go. I mean, all I can say is with that backstory, what you're saying is true, which it probably is because a lot of people are saying that. It's interesting. So let's see what happens. I think it's an interesting fight night for the end of the year. And if it is a crazy knockout, dude, people are going to be talking about it for weeks because there's no fights until January 11th. So this is wild.